Founded in 1969, Survival International is the only organization working for tribal people's rights worldwide. Here to help in the fight and tell us a little bit more about Survival's message is Tess, Thackara, their U.S. coordinator. Thanks for being here today.
Thank you for having me.
So Tess, tell us a little bit about what Survival International does.
Sure. So we're an international human rights group, and we help tribal peoples all over the world to defend their land rights. So we have campaigns, over the years we've had campaigns in 92 countries, and we basically work to publicize human rights violations that are being committed against tribal peoples all over the world, and we advocate for their right to remain on their land and have control over their lands.
So what kind of direct threats are these people facing?
They're facing a whole slew of different threats, from illegal logging to dam building to oil mining, basically any industries that are going in there and seeking to extract their resources and displace tribal peoples. We have a big campaign for uncontacted tribes at the moment, and the problems they're facing, particularly in Peru, they're facing oil mining, the oil mining industry, and the Peruvian government has basically leased out 70% of the Amazon to oil mining companies. And this is a big problem for uncontacted tribes because they have very little immunity to disease. So what happens is the workers on these mines go in there and they carry diseases with them. And in the past there have been instances of tribes being wiped out by 50% just from these diseases being brought in. So that's a really big threat they're facing.
So what do you say to people that say this is just an old way of living, it's an old lifestyle,
Yeah.
and they want to sort of introduce these people to the internet and
Sure.
all these things?
I think that what comes with that opinion that these tribes are kind of primitive and they're backward and they are living the way that our ancestors lived. First of all, they're not. They're actually evolving peoples, and the way they live has changed a lot over time. And on top of that, people assume that integration brings good things, and that once you introduce a tribal people to kind of modern ways of living, that what comes with that is health and education and all these things that actually, we've seen throughout history that what happens when you integrate an indigenous population like that is that usually they end up experiencing poverty and a slew of health problems, and they end up with more problems than when they started. They should have the right to decide how they want to live, and what we've seen time and time again is that actually these tribes, even if they are almost completely uncontacted, they are aware that the rest of the world is out there, and they're making an active decision not to integrate because they know that they've seen neighboring tribes that have experienced all these problems that come with integration.
So what are some of the sort of things we can learn from tribal societies?
I think, it's difficult to generalize about that because there are so many tribes all over the world, and they all actually live very differently and have different practices. But I think that first and foremost, tribal peoples are the best stewards of the land, and their relationship to their land is something that we, in urban societies don't really understand anymore. And I think that their knowledge and kind of spiritual relationship to the land is something that in the face of climate change, I think is really important for us.
Could you tell us what people can do to help out all these indigenous tribes and stuff?
We want to rally the public's support behind these issues, and so we think it's most important that people just know what's happening there. So we would encourage people to go onto our website, survivalinternational.org. You can sign up for our monthly e-news. and just stay on top of what's going on in the world and try and share all those stories with people widely. And the more we all express our solidarity for these peoples around the world, the more governments feel pressure to acknowledge and respect their rights.
To get up-to-date information and help in this ongoing battle, check out these links. For KART News, I'm Erin Sitt.